Welcome, viewers, to another fabulous episode of Unapologetically Free. Now, today I am going to talk about the topic of focusing on form rather than results. Now, first off, in trying to achieve any goal, there is always the goal, and then there's the process that leads to the goal. Many people today understand the importance of goal setting. They know about visualization, about how important it is to set the specific goals, and so on and so forth. But what many people today tend to neglect due to the popularization of certain movements and books such as The Secret, where they believe that simply imagining something over and over again would lead to the fulfillment of that imagination. Now, in my own experience, if it is to do with certain skills that you need to learn, and I'm sorry, visualization alone will not cut it. Because just imagine if you want to improve as a violin player, and your visualization always and only entails you performing on stage with a violin, you will fail because there are principles governing the universe and there is power in action. So, visualization and the goal is important, but what is also crucially important is that you get the process right. And this process is what I would call form. But more important than getting the form right is to get the correct form. Now, a very simple example to clarify this concept: in trying to shoot a ball in basketball, the result that we all yearn for is for the ball to enter the hoop. But the proper form simply means that perhaps the way your hands reach for the ball, and then the way your legs jump, and then the way you flick the ball with your hand movement, if you optimize this form and perform it over and over and over again, you will achieve the best results with the highest probability of achieving that desired results. Now, while having a poor form, okay, let's say using the example of a basketball, you can choose to just flick the ball in some random ways, throw it over your head, certain things like that. Trying to shoot with poor form may at times lead to a good result where the ball enters, but you are actually rewarding yourself for poor form, which means in the long run, you will suffer from having a poor form. You will form bad habits, and all these bad habits that are formed today are the same bad habits that are holding you back from achieving what you want to achieve. And therefore, it's incredibly important to get your form right. Now, as I mentioned, the proper form leads to the best results. So in whatever you do, ask yourself this question: what is the best form? Now, while you may not necessarily find an answer, which is the reason why we all need coaches in whatever we do, at least the awareness of such a concept will prevent mindless practice, but instead allow you to be aware of your state while you are practicing whatever you want to improve in. For example, if you want the result of people listening to you, of people respecting you, instead of purely focusing on the result, which is what many people think about. I want this, I lack this, they complain about that. Focus instead on the way you speak, the accents, the intonation, and the facial expressions that you have when you speak. Model after someone that speaks very well and analyze this person. His eye contact, the way he uses his body language, break it down and find out what is that form that leads to the result that you want. But that's not all. You will have to go through months and even years of practicing that correct form before you will be able to consistently get the kind of result that you want to get. Another example, if you want the result of sound health, focus on having the good form of good diet and exercise instead of temporal highs that caffeine and sugary products bring you, because these things are bad form, and while they may give you resemblance of a good result, such as being more positive on the sugar high, it is in the long run going to screw you over. And the last thing I want to talk about, practice. Practice is the buzzword, practice. But when you practice, focus on one thing. Practice proper form. As clean the form as possible, just practice proper form. Now, the most important thing about attaining result is consistency, and consistency comes from consistent practice. If you experience success at times and failures on others, ask yourself what leads to success and what leads to failure, and then fine-tune the form that leads to the best and most consistent result. For example, in my own experience, the result that I seek of attaining a good energy level is most consistently met when I drink a vegetable smoothie in the morning on an empty stomach. Now, I tried and experimented with different kinds of food, and what I realized is that for me, having a green smoothie in the morning on an empty stomach serves myself the best in terms of boosting my emotional and physical energy. And therefore, in order to ensure that I experience the result that I want, I simply need to be consistent in drinking a glass of vegetable smoothie every single day on an empty stomach. Now, to end off, what I want to say is that all things in this universe are governed by principles and laws that are unchanging. Therefore, your task in this life is to simply find out what these forces governing us are, and then live according to these laws, and your life will turn out for the better. Now, some people through science try to find out what these principles are, but honestly, genuinely, and simply, you can just trial and error, test for yourself what works for you, and then when you find it, stick to that correct and proper form, and you will start to live a better life and a more enjoyable life. Now, if you like this video, like it, comment, subscribe, share this video, and I'll see you again.